Hi there, this is Annie Greene, and I'm here at a park in Prince George's County, Maryland to look for morel mushrooms. Now it's late March, and I normally wouldn't expect to find morels in this region until mid to late April. But we had a pretty warm winter, and some people have reported finding morels in this region, so I figured I'd give it a shot. So these are pictures from last year. Now these are some morels I found last year actually in this same park. And I wanted to show you what I'm exactly looking for today. So you can see that the morels can be a wide range of different colors. They can be this kind of auburn color, more blonde or dark or gray even. But they all have this characteristic honeycomb looking cap. And that's what you have to look for poking out from the ground when you're looking for morels. This picture is also from last year, and if you look in the center of the photo, you can see a little brown nub sticking out of the ground. And they can be pretty difficult to find among all the leaves and sticks and seed pods that are on the forest floor. So it really does take a lot of focus to find morels. And this is that same mushroom that was in the last picture, just from a little closer up view. This is another one from last year. You can see the picture's a little out of focus, but you can see that this morel was actually half covered by a leaf. So sometimes these things can be hiding in plain sight, and again, it takes a lot of focus to find them. Okay, back to present day. So this is how I search for morel mushrooms. First I find a big tree trunk, and then I just start scanning the ground around 5 to 8 feet out from the tree. And the reason for this is that Morel mycelium, which is the underground part of the fungus, which is actually most of it, likes to mingle with the tree roots of certain species, specifically American elms and tulip poplar trees. So I basically just find a tree trunk and start scanning the ground. It's kind of like skimming a newspaper. You're just kind of quickly looking around, looking out for that specific pattern, that very distinctive pattern that the morel has. Then I like to give my eyes a break, look at the horizon a bit, enjoy the forest. And once I find another nearby tree, repeat the process. Sometimes it feels like Where's Waldo or something. You're scanning all these different colors and all these different textures, and you're really just looking for that one specific pattern. And I kept getting tricked by these little sphere-shaped seed pods that have similar pits as the morel caps. And you might remember the picture I showed you before of the morel nub sticking out of the ground. These were looking very similar to me. And here's another one in the center of the photo. Again, I kept getting tricked and getting excited, thinking maybe I found something. It was just these seed pods. And to be honest, that frustration is a pretty common theme in morel hunting, in that they can be very sparse. They might not be around at all. And, you really want to find something, so you want to keep thinking that you saw one, but a lot of times it's just a seed pod or a leaf or a stick or something. So to temper that frustration, a lot of times what I will do is, see what mushrooms I do find. So these are called wood ear mushrooms. This is the underside. You can see they look like little ears almost, and that's why they got their name. And this is me turning this stick upside down, so you can see the other side. And I can never resist touching them. They're so squishy, and they have such a fun little texture, and they do kind of feel like ears too. They're totally safe to touch. You might get some spores in your hand, but they're totally harmless. So I just go around touching all the wood ears I can find. And this is a mushroom with a similar growing pattern. This is called witch's butter. I think it got its name because it's yellow, and usually people associate mushrooms with kind of magic or witches or things like that. And again, I always touch them because I love the way they feel, especially if it's been raining a lot, like it was raining this day. The mushrooms get very hydrated, very squishy. They have like a jelly consistency that I just can't help myself. And these are called inky cap mushrooms, and they get this name because as they mature, the caps actually liquefy into this black liquid that contains the spores. And it's really cool to watch. They're very ephemeral, and I actually was finding a lot of these in this one area. And here's a picture of inky caps from above. And I'm not really sure what these little white ones were, but I thought they were very cute. And that's one thing I love about looking for fungi in the forest is that you're always finding something new and you always have the opportunity to learn more. So I ended up not finding any morels this day, which was a little disappointing. I was out in the forest for about 2.5 hours looking and just wasn't finding any. Um, that's just something that you kind of have to deal with when you're foraging for wild foods. I mean, the weather conditions have to be just right, you have to be in the right place at the right time, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. But that's a really important lesson, I think, to just go into this with little to no expectations. And if you find what you're looking for, great. And if you don't, move on and try to find something to enjoy. At least I got to see a bunch of cool mushrooms that I showed you and these beautiful blooms. And spring is really kicking into gear here, and it was really nice to witness that. So even though I didn't find any morels today, these are the ones that I got last year after I cooked them up. And might not be much to look at, but they are delicious. So I'll keep looking again in maybe a week, and I'll just keep on checking in on my favorite spots, and hopefully I'll have a more successful outing soon. Thanks for watching.